And now, The Money Show
with Stephen Grootes on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by Absa Group and DHL Go Trade. African SMEs are now closer to global markets. Good evening. Welcome to the Friday edition of The Money Show, 9 minutes after 6. I'm Stephen Grootes. So in a way, a kind of joyous mood to our market, not so much other markets, but mainly because of higher gold prices, a weaker dollar helping the rand. I think just sort of lifting a few boats around, if I can call stocks boats, on the JSE, and that giving things a little bit of vim and vigor. And we'll talk more about it, of course, with Matete Tulare at Investec in a little while when we do the market commentary at around 25 minutes after 6. But I just got the sense that for various reasons, it was almost kind of looking like how things did before the conflict around Iran and the Strait of Hormuz started, except for the oil price, which instead of being sort of $70 a barrel, was $93 a barrel. But apart from that, all of those other indicators just looking in the same direction. I thought that was very interesting. We'll talk more about it as we go through the show. Strong period for Cell C, especially in the prepaid sector. And the prepaid sector has been very, very competitive, as we know, and really quite difficult for them. We'll speak to El Corpe, their Chief Financial Officer at Cell C, in a little while. And Cell C is a good example of what's often called a mobile virtual network operator. In other words, you get a cell phone number, or you're using a cell phone company that doesn't actually own its own network. They rent space from other networks. And the market for that seems to be growing across Africa. We'll speak to Dobek Pata about that. I think that's going to be interesting. He's at Africa Analysis. And then before 7 o'clock in Friday File, Jacob Moshokoa, you know, of course, he's a presenter on Cape Talk, presents the motoring show there, but we'll speak to him ahead of the Festival of Motoring, which is next weekend. It's at Kyalami. Lots of people will be talking about this as we get closer to it, and I suppose people who aren't at the rugby, for example, who aren't watching football that weekend, will be there. But we'll just also ask him what it's actually like there at the moment, and, you know, the sort of vibe, the kind of interest. What is it that people are going to a motoring festival to do? I think those might be some interesting questions. Good to hear your view, of course. 011-883-0702, 021-446-0567, and voice notes this evening on 072-702-1702. 12 minutes after 6.
The Money Show
with Stephen Grootes, live on 92.7 and 106 FM. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app
and DSTV channel 856.
Well, Cell C reporting headline earnings up nearly 60% in its first year as an independent listed company on the JSE, able to increase its net revenue by nearly 10% and, crucially, been able to increase its subscribers in the prepaid space. El Corpe is the Chief Financial Officer at Cell C. El, good evening. I mean, a big year for you for all sorts of reasons. You've been able to increase your prepaid subscribers significantly in quite a difficult market. How were you able to drive that?
Hi, Stephen, and thank you for having me, and thank you to you and your listeners. From a prepaid perspective, we've just made solid progress, just encouraging growth overall. We've had the improved network performance, which helps with getting more customers. We've had sharper channel execution and have normalized our historical airtime discounts, which has improved our profitability. But outside of that, our channel execution has improved.
In this market, I mean, is it all about price? It's very competitive. All of the other network operators have been competing hard here. Is price really the main determinant? Is that what makes people change and shift?
Look, the consumer is price sensitive throughout. It is not necessarily the only thing that does make consumers shift in between the different telcos, but it is a factor that we have to consider. From a Cell C perspective, we just make sure we provide the best experience for our customers consistently, have good value in our products for them to experience, give them a great network to also experience, and we think that is sufficient. And we have great channel partners that help us distribute.
There's been a lot of churn in this market. I mean, someone would use Cell C, they would go to another network, they would come back to Cell C. Is churn still a big issue in the prepaid sector?
Oh, definitely, Stephen. And I think churn is an industry-wide problem, an issue that has been there for some time. You do see quite a lot of switching, multi-SIMming is normal. I think if you think about yourself and think the number of SIM cards you have, a phone, an iPad. So churn does continue to be a problem. That's why we focus a lot on retention and understanding our customers, and we do a lot of personalization to make sure that we can retain our customers. But if you look at the regulatory landscape and look at RICA enforcement, we think RICA enforcement will definitely change the pattern of churn as we continue. We might go from, switching on 10 million SIM cards a month and switching them off a month later in industry as a whole, and get to more normalized numbers that then reflect the fact that the market hasn't necessarily grown. But SLC were very intentional from a retention perspective just to manage our churn.
Your voice traffic is down 4% year on year, and I presume that's people using WhatsApp calls. That transition from what someone of my age calls a normal call to a data call, that must be happening very quickly.
It has been happening quite quickly. I think as a business, we've been more fortunate that our decline has been lower. But I think that talks to the fact that we're growing overall. But more and more people are moving into different propositions. So traditional voice is not the best proposition anymore. And that's why we focus so much on delivering good products for our customers. And our strategy is data-led. And our growth in data is making sure that it offsets that loss of voice and voice revenue overall.
In the next period, there might be some regulatory changes. It's about the rollover of bundles, I suppose, data bundles, really. So basically, when you buy a data bundle, it will have to be valid for a longer period. And you point to that in your documents today. Is that going to have a big impact? Are you worried about it? I mean, clearly it will have some sort of impact.
It would have an impact. As a business, we are very much pro-consumer, and the regulation makes sense for the consumer, and hence we are quite supportive of it. It would have an impact. We're not saying it would not have an impact on the business, and hence we discussed it in our numbers earlier and have guided accordingly for it. But we believe our customers at the center of everything that we do, so we definitely position ourselves and put our positions forward in that fashion, and we'll take on whatever the regulator needs us to do to make sure we deliver the right quality service to our customer, but also then re-baseline our business to make us sustainable and still be able to deliver.
Okay, but it is going to cost you more. Your average revenue per customer will probably go down slightly, and there's really, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I don't know if you're really saying what you're actually going to do about it. I mean, I get that the market is growing. I get that there's lots of potential, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Still going to have an impact, unfortunately, I presume.
Oh, yes, definitely. It will have an impact. It would have a revenue impact, and you're right. It might definitely affect your ARPU overall, but we can only look at the propositions that we offer to our customers. We can focus on retention, personalization. Also, that understanding your customer is quite important from that perspective. So for us, that customer management throughout the customer life cycle is important, so that we make sure that we can keep our customers. It's harder to gain a new one. It's easier to maintain the one you have. So we definitely pay attention to our current customers, but are always looking to then grow the business overall. So we're aware from a revenue perspective, we'll definitely have an impact, but we're focusing more on growing, making sure that we can implement it sustainably throughout, understanding our product profile so we can then tweak wherever we need to, and then delivering to the customer.
Despite this, and despite the competition, you say Cell C is positioned for growth. So you have the regulatory changes, you have banks that offer SIM cards, all sorts of things. Where is the confidence coming from, El? What in the model, what in the business model is giving you, clearly as a group, quite a lot of confidence at the moment?
Yeah, our business model, Stephen, is unique to us. We definitely are an asset-light mobile network operator. We hold our own spectrum. We have our own core. But we have a very diverse portfolio from a revenue perspective. And when you look at that full portfolio, our different segments in prepaid, we're still showing good growth. We are coming off of being the smallest contributor to market share, so we still think there's plenty of opportunity to grow there. On postpaid, we've just literally taken back that business and acquired it from CEC, which used to be a subsidiary of the Blue Label company. And that integration into our business will make sure that we can optimize the service delivery to our customers, and also then look at different ways to grow the book, from channel redevelopment, looking at products, looking at financing solutions for those customers. And again, from a low base, so we definitely think we can still grow in postpaid and the relevant equipment revenue. We're also very excited about our wholesale business, and our wholesale business is a combination of different businesses, including MVNOs, international roaming, and other roaming services. But we definitely believe that the way we partner with our customers in that segment has led to the growth that you're seeing in the current year of over 20%. And as you see more diversification in just that segment, especially in the MVNOs, we expect that we will continue to benefit from that. I mean, in this year alone, those MVNO customers on our side, we only see them on our home location register, have reached 5.7 million. So we still have the opportunity to play with our own customer base that's currently sitting at 8.9 million, but also support other businesses that have a customer base that now sits at 5.7. So those, we think, are things that will drive our growth. We're cognizant of everything that's happening with regulation. We spoke a little bit about end user, mobile termination rates affect us. So that has led to some declines in our revenue. But if we look at the full portfolio, the opportunity to grow equipment, grow postpaid service revenue, still target prepaid and the prepaid customer, and also grow our wholesale business, we still think we can maintain this business sustainably. And from a CapEx perspective, we are more a platform business, digital-led business. So we don't spend big CapEx amounts. We've laid in our numbers a CapEx envelope of anything between 750 and 850. So we think we'll be able to still meet the required returns sustainably over time by just staying lean and delivering on our top-line growth.
El Corpet, thank you so much. Really do appreciate the time. The Chief Financial Officer at Cell C, 21 minutes after 6.
The Money Show.
The Friday File.
The Friday File.
Cell C is what's known as a mobile virtual network operator. Its main model is it doesn't own its own network or transmitters. It rents capacity from other players, uses that to provide services to customers. And a new report out this week showing Africa's market for these operators looks like it's about to grow rapidly. Dobek Pater is the Director of Business Development at Africa Analysis, put the report together. Dobek, good evening. You suggest the number of people using these operators in just 9 markets will go from around 8 million people now to nearly 40 million in just the next 4 years. I mean, that's explosive growth. Where's it going to come from?
Good evening, Stephen, and thank you for having me on the show. So it's at the moment we have across Africa, which has 54 jurisdictions or countries. 9 out of those countries or 9 markets have active MVNOs. 45 do not at the moment. And as you indicated, about just over 8 million subscribers, but we expect that to grow to 40 million approximately over the next 5 years or so, including 2026. And I think the point is that Africa has been behind in development of the MVNO environment, the whole ecosystem behind not only South Africa at the tip of the continent, but globally where the markets are a lot more developed for a number of reasons. But we see that the opportunity is aligning itself, various factors, especially in some of the key markets in Africa, and that's going to lead to growth. I mean, having said that, it's still, at the moment, we still have less than 2% of total SIM cards or mobile network operator subscribers, mobile users. Less than 2% of that actually are MVNO subscribers. That will grow to about 6.2% in our view over the next 5 years. So it's still a small number. And that, I think importantly, we need to remember that South Africa is a big market. It's as the lady from Cell C just indicated, they alone have just over 5 million MVNO subscribers on their home location register, on actually the engines. And we expect South Africa itself to grow to more than 14 million by 2030. So, that's more than a third, or about 40% of that market. And then we have the rest of the continent, which is substantial, almost 1.5 billion SIM cards at the moment, just mobile SIM cards. So that presents an opportunity for expansion for the virtual network operators as well.
Does this growth come at the expense of the other networks? I mean, is that where it's going to come from?
It depends on the market. So, a lot of the markets, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa, still have not 100% penetration levels. And South Africa has, by comparison, close to 200, i.e. 2 SIM cards or 2 numbers for every citizen that we have in the country, or 3 almost. That's not quite the case in most of the rest of sub-Saharan Africa. So there's still an opportunity for greenfields growth. It's a little bit different in North Africa, where the markets are a lot or more developed, and there probably the growth will come at the expense of mobile network operators. In sub-Saharan Africa, it's going to be a mixed case. So in some instances, yes, mobile network operators will give up some customers to the MVNOs, but on the flip side, they may gain wholesale customers. So where they may lose some retail sales, and they will gain wholesale sales. And if we look at the case of Cell C, they've made a very successful business out of that over the past 20 years or so.
Dobek, we've got 10 seconds left, but I presume one of the biggest factors about whether this market grows is whether it's relatively easy to switch from one operator to another and keep your actual cell phone number.
That's one of the factors. It's called mobile number portability, which regulators allow to switch operators and keep your number. But there are other factors as well. Apart from the regulatory environment to enable MVNOs to operate, you also need to have good wholesale developed environment and good conditions, ability to negotiate good rates with the network operators. A very important factor are large brands and that brand awareness. And in South Africa, we, for instance, see that in the case of the large banks and some of the large retailers like Pick n Pay and Shoprite, etc.
Dobek Parter, thank you very much. Really do appreciate the time. Fascinating report. Director of Business Development at Africa Analysis. 27 after 6.
The Money Show.
The markets.
Motata Tolare is at Investec Treasury Sales and Solutions. Evening to you, Matete. I mean, obviously the Rand, one of the big stories, going below 16 Rand to the dollar at one point.
Yeah, good evening, Stephen. I suppose the Rand is having a good day. It broke through the 16 handle to the dollar for the first time since February. We traded around 15.98 to the dollar. And I suppose what's driving it is a weaker dollar. That's the big story globally. The U.S. Treasury announcing plans to buy back some of the long-dated bonds, which has put pressure on the dollar. And given emerging market currencies like the Rand some room to breathe, and I suppose also another factor contributing here is the fact that gold is also helping. I mean, rising gold prices are a tailwind for the Rand, and South Africa being a major gold producer does well, especially when gold does well, so the Rand tends to follow. And then thirdly, I suppose it's also foreign investors buying South African bonds. I mean, global investors have bought nearly 11 billion worth of South African bonds just yesterday, which is a sign of a growing confidence in the country's bonds as well.
Cell C, you would have heard the CEO, heard the Chief Financial Officer, very bullish about the future, I thought.
Yeah, quite an interesting story. Cell C is back. The numbers show it. I mean, the company reported full year results today. I mean, revenue up 13.5%. EBITDA also doubling to around 5.5 billion. Subscribers are growing fast. I mean, we're seeing them adding numbers. They're adding customers at a rapid pace. Subscriber numbers are up 17%. I think that's a strong signal with regards to their turnaround strategy. It's working. Also, another thing that we looked at was their debt burden. I mean, net debt there fell from around close to 6 billion to around 2 billion, which is a dramatic improvement that shows that they're getting the financial house in order after years of struggle. But I mean, like they said, I mean, they are flagging that the consumer remains under pressure, and competition in the telecom sector is really fierce.
Aspen Pharmacare, I mean, on headline earnings, making, they're lower, depending on how you measure it. They've had a lot of restructuring costs this year. They say they're doing a little better.
Yeah, look, I mean, they had a great day today. The stock jumped about close to 5% up. It's the best single day move in about a month after they released a positive trading update this morning. Their earnings are bouncing back quite strongly. I suppose that's quite an interesting one, and it's also significant growth and recovery for Africa's largest drug maker. Last year, we remember Aspen took a huge impairment hit and also restructuring costs, like you mentioned, and that pushed it to a loss. But now they've swung back to positive earnings, the real turnaround strategy there as well. But also looking ahead, I mean, they're also talking, a big bet on HIV prevention. I mean, they've secured a licensing agreement to manufacture an HIV prevention pill once they receive their approval from the regulator. And also for a country like South Africa, where, HIV remains a major public health challenge, this could be a significant development for their earnings going forward.
And then very quickly, Harmony, obviously strong day for them, higher gold prices lifting their earnings.
Also, another blockbuster year for another mining house. I mean, they're reporting earnings per share to be up close to 100% up. And I mean, simply put, I mean, the gold price has really been the one driving that. I mean, they received more than about, call it 35%, for gold this year on average. And obviously the company has delivered on all its key operating targets. They also wrote back some impairments, which was essential, given the fact that they had previously written down about 2.8 billion, and also copper. That's part of the success story there out in Australia. That's also adding diversification beyond gold for them. So quite a good set of results from Harmony earlier this morning.
Thanks very much indeed. Matete Tulare is at Investec Treasury Sales and Solutions. A few seconds after 6:30.
WhatsApp Stephen
On 072
702
1702.
22 minutes to 7. A statement out of Eskom just sort of late this afternoon around the city of Joburg saying the city of Joburg had now made its final payment. It's up to date. It paid 5.2 billion rand. And remember, the long-running story about the debt the money that Joburg owed the Eskom. What I just don't understand is if Joburg didn't have a problem, then why didn't pay the money earlier? Why did it get to the point where Eskom had to threaten and we had to call in the minister and the other minister and all the rest, and there was arm wrestling and goodness knows what was going on behind the scenes. And it's still interesting to me, the ANC tomorrow is supposed to actually announce who their mayoral candidates will be for the major metros. So presumably we will get confirmation, in fact, of who will be the mayoral candidate for the ANC for the city of Joburg. I know most people have suggested, and certainly informed opinion has suggested, if I can call it that it would probably be Frank Chikane, which was probably where my money was too. But there's also one or two reports this evening, I think the Citizen suggesting that in fact he's pulled out and won't do it. I don't know what they will do in that case. But I've been sort of slightly curious as to how slow the ANC has been in Joburg. Just no real visible signs. You see MK, you see EFF, you see DA posters, and they're all on the Insta and the WhatsApp. But I don't see much evidence of the ANC campaigning in any way in Joburg. I find that quite curious. And yesterday, business saying they'll be very happy to help resources, money into Joburg, but they obviously need a credible partner. And I think people might look at the current Joburg budget and look at where the money's gone in the past and think, well, I'm not putting it there just yet. And that does take you down some very curious and complicated political roads. 011 8830702 021 4460567. Don't forget the Friday Biz Blitz in about 10 minutes. 20 minutes now to 7.
The Money Show.
The Friday File.
The Friday File.
14 minutes to 7 the time. Well, around the country, motorheads are getting ready for the Festival of Motoring at Kyalami next week. Thousands of people will flock there. There'll be vintage cars, sports cars, race cars as well. even some electric cars. Who knows? Jacob Moshokoa, of course, is the host of the Motoring Show on Cape Talk. He's well known in this game. He joins us now. Jacob, good evening. I mean, you've been at the festival many times. You play an active role there, actually. How much of an attraction are car festivals these days? I mean, clearly people still enjoy going.
Stephen, good evening. The one thing that I've seen with enthusiasts out there, or car people, and even just general families out there, is they love anything that's got to do with motorsport. And the beauty of this festival alone, taking place in one of the most iconic racetracks in South Africa, or even the Southern Hemisphere, means that there will be droves of people streaming into the Kyalami Grand Prix circuit between Friday and Sunday, and it will be all types of people. There's people who like, as you mentioned, the classics and the vintage, and there's people who also like the new cars. But the nice thing that makes this festival stick out from the rest of the others is the fact that it's an interactive show, where people get a chance to jump into the cars, they get a bit of track time, and there's also like gourmet food that's being sold. It's not just the normal food that you would find at a flea market. They go out of their way with making sure that the people who are coming there get to experience things firsthand. It's taking a test drive to the next level, literally.
I mean, there's nothing quite like the smell of petrol and sushi. I mean, one complements the other so wonderfully.
I love that.
So, I mean, the obvious thing is that people want to watch a car go fast, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's what they're there to do. You want to see that, and yet maybe you want to do it at Kyalami.
Stephen, I feel like you're not giving that question justice. Yes, we want to see cars go fast, but at the same time, we also understand that the normal day-to-day South African, you and I, are looking for a generic family car, either for your wife or your sister or your mother. I'm currently looking for a car for my mother, and I'm looking because it's not static cars on display like when you see them at a dealership. You literally get to sign an indemnity form, and then you stand in a bit of a queue, and then they drive you around the racetrack. There's even an area of Kyalami Grand Prix circuit where you, as a driver, can get to drive the car. Sure. I mean, the 4x4 zone of this event alone just shows you how big 4x4s are in South Africa. They in fact call it a 4x4 village, where many of the motoring manufacturers, from Isuzu to Suzuki to Toyota to Volkswagen, and I haven't even mentioned any of the Chinese cars, they all take over this 4x4 zone where you can hop into a brand new Suzuki Jimny and get a feel of what the car's like on an off-road 4x4 track. That alone makes this show stand alone, simply because of what it offers. It's more than a static car show. It's a more of an interactive show.
I mean, you're right. Obviously, the South Africans, I mean, the bakkie market, we're very good at making them as well. I mean, that must be a huge attraction, almost more than where sedans used to be in the market. What we buy has really changed, and you'll see that being reflected next week.
Exactly that. Stephen, the days of the sedans and even coupes, may I say, are long gone. This was a time when, 12, 15 years ago, when people would look at having a 4-door car with a boot to be able to take the family with on holiday. No. Now it's all about the bakkies. It's all about the SUVs. It's more about the family-orientated vehicles that give you the edge to take an off-road or off the beaten track type of holiday when you are driving with the family. But beyond all of the every day-to-day cars, and going back to what you said about cars wanting to move fast, you can also sign up for a hot lap and driving and getting a front seat in a BMW M with a BMW M driving experience. AMG are coming with their driving academy, and even the Simola Hill Climb. That's an event that takes place all the way in Knysna in May every year. They even have a stand there, and you could also get a chance to get driven in a proper hill climb monster around the Kyalami Grand Prix circuit. It's literally like the word motoring festival makes so much sense for this event because it puts it all together in one. And I mean, that's why on the Saturday, which is peak day, you have close to 20,000 people walking in there. And if you look at ticket prices alone and what people are paying for a ticket, that alone shows you that if a family of 4 is going there and you as a dad want to get your children to experience an event like no other, you will pay the 300 or 400 Rand for a ticket because you know that your kids are going to enjoy it, you are going to enjoy it, and you are more likely to be buying a new car come a week or two after Festival of Motoring.
Well, I wondered about that because for the manufacturers, this must be a big moment. I mean, it's a chance to show what their things can do in a way that's a little bit more glamorous than everywhere else. I mean, you go to a car dealership, maybe you get a chance to drive it, but it's always very difficult and who knows what traffic's going to do. I mean, this is a very different experience for everyone, including the people trying to sell them.
Well said, Stephen. Now, we've seen Festival of Motoring sort of progress or mature over the years. Many years ago, in 2016, 2017, when this show started, it had a lot of the heritage brands, the big German brands being the main draw card. Now it's sort of changed. It's come into more of the Asian manufacturers. And I remember 2 years ago, people were saying, no, I don't want to go to Festival of Motoring because we feel like it's a China fest. That's what they said. But the truth is, that's what people are buying right now. The more popular cars are, of course, the Asian brands, and they're being offered because they make a lot of sense in terms of price point, and they make a lot of sense in terms of what they offer when it comes to features. So these cars may be the lead factor for a lot of people to come to Festival of Motoring. But trust me, Stephen, this is probably the only way for anyone to get a glimpse of various products at once and at least be able to make a calculated decision from there. Or at least when they leave there, they'll know what they're saving up for the next year or for the upgrade. And I'm not talking bad about the heritage brands because, yes, they're still trickled around the festival showgrounds. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of people talking about these Asian brands being inferior or whatever the case is. Why not have a look at what Festival of Motoring has to offer to be able to at least debunk the myth?
Yeah.
Because a lot of them are quite successful and you can't deny that.
I mean, it's a good place if you were ever going to try it. We've got 20 seconds left to drive an electric car for the first time, for example. I mean, I've done that for 10 seconds once. This would be a much better experience.
Definitely. Now, if you look at what they're offering, there's a lot more electric cars on the market right now. So you get to at least sample, see, touch and feel a lot of what the electric cars have to offer. Because now in South Africa in 2026, the option of buying electric cars is becoming very much attainable. And at 330 Rand for a general access ticket, why not go take it for a spin?
Thanks very much indeed, Jacob Moshokoa, the presenter of Car Talk. On Cape Talk, and obviously lots to say about cars, lots of experience with cars. Jacob, thank you. Good to chat again. Really do appreciate it. 6 minutes now to 7.
Stephen Grootes
Taking your calls
on 011-883-0702.
All right, time for the Friday Biz Blitz on The Money Show this Friday evening. You know how it works. We put out a question. You call us on 011-883-0702 or 021-446-0567. If you get the question correct, we move on to the next question. If you get it wrong, we move on to the next caller. First question in the Friday Biz Blitz. Panarottis was the standout performer in Spur's latest results because its pizza sales were up so strongly. What other offering are they trying to grow? What is Panarottis trying to sell more of? That's not pizza. It's an easy one if you think about it. If it's not pizza, what else are they trying to sell? 011-883-0702, 021-446-0567.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by Absa Group and DHL Go Trade. African SMEs are now closer to global markets.
The Money Show, Friday Biz Blitz.
4 minutes now to 7 the time, 011-883-0702, 021-446-0567. First question on the Friday Biz Blitz this evening. Panarottis, the big performer in Spur's latest results, mainly because they sold so much more pizza. What else are they trying to sell? Tsapang on the line from Mabapani. Tsapang, hi.
Hi, Stephen.
Go for it.
They're trying to sell more pasta dishes.
Do you know, Tsapang, they are trying to sell more pasta. I had a great clue, which was going to be it's also very carb heavy, but you clearly don't need it. All right, Tsapang, you ready for the next one? Here we go. Which retailer lost Mike Bosman and Shirley Zinn from its board this week? Which retailer lost two people from its board, Mike Bosman and Shirley Zinn?
Can I get a clue? Is it a supermarket chain that is dominated by a wholesaler?
It is a supermarket chain dominated by a wholesaler, yes.
That's Spar then.
Oh, Tsapang, you've done your homework. Indeed, it is Spar. Okay, here we go. I don't know if you've been paying attention to what Solakele has been talking about all week and what many people will talk about tomorrow. The Springbok rugby team have dominated their recent rivalry against the New Zealand All Blacks. Of the last 10 tests, how many have the Springboks won? So in the last 10 matches between the All Blacks and the Springboks, how many have the Springboks won? Tsapang, and I'll give you a clue. It's more than half.
If it's more than half, I'll say, I'm not a big rugby fan, I'll say 8 out of 10.
Oh, Tsapang, you are so incredibly close, but I can't give it to you. I'm sorry, Tsapang. Oh, Tsapang. Okay, the Springboks have really dominated. How many of the last 10 tests have they won against the All Blacks? We've got questions about SADC. We've got other questions as well this evening. Simon in Mabapani. Simon, hi.
Hi, Steve.
Yeah, go for it.
7.
Simon, you are correct. It is 7. Okay, Mabapani's clearly been paying attention this week. All right, Simon, next question. South Africa hosted the 46th SADC Summit this week. What does the acronym SADC, S-A-D-C, what does it stand for? Simon, easy one, please.
SADC, South.
Oh, Simon.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, no, let me pass. Thanks.
Oh, Simon. You should. Okay. Oh, Simon. I'm sorry. SADC, come on. Easy one. Still got time. 011 8830702 021 446 0567. What does SADC stand for? S-A-D-C. I'll give you a hint. You live in it. It's not that hard. You live in it. You're part of it. All right, then. Well, let's see. Maybe we still have time. Let's see if we can squeeze one in. I think maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to find out what SADC stands for. I'm hoping that we can, because I think it'd be nice to, end on a vibe, end with our musical tune this week. Would be quite nice to do. That's SADC. Gabriel in Pretoria. What does SADC stand for?
South African Development Communities.
Say it again, please, Gabriel.
South African Development Communities.
Gabriel, thank you. Good evening, 7 o'clock.